This is a 2020 Audi SQ7 Prestige, a 7-passenger, 500 horsepower monster with equal parts elegance and bravado. Yeah, it will take your kids to school. It will also beat a Ferrari 360 Monza in a street race. My name is Robin Warner, an experienced engineer and magazine editor, and I want to tell you more about it. What is an Audi SQ7? It's a 3-row premium SUV with the soul of a muscle car and the heart of a champion. If, of course, that champion were turbocharged and grew up in Ingolstadt. The Prestige is the highest of 2 trims offered in the SQ7, above the Premium Plus models, which means you get a head-up display, soft closing doors, as well as heated and ventilated seats. Much more importantly, the Audi SQ7 is powered by a twin-turbocharged 4-liter V8 engine producing a peak output of 500 horsepower and 568 pound-feet of torque. That power then goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission and onto all 4 wheels. The base price of the 2020 Audi SQ7 is $85,795, and my test car cost $99,390, so much less than $100 grand. For those that are interested, I included detailed specifications, including dimensions, fuel economy, and options in the description. All right, let's take a look around the car. Here it is, the 2020 Audi SQ7. This one is painted in Matador Red Metallic, which is a $595 optional extra paint. The Q7s were updated for 2020, which involved a new shaped grille and some other little bits and bobs. It was generally a minor update, but the fact that the Audi SQ7 exists with 500 horsepower and 568 pound-feet of torque, that's much more important than an updated front fascia, I would say. This one has 21-inch wheels, courtesy of the SQ7, and they are currently wearing winter tires because it is early spring here in Michigan. It also has these really nice metal finished side view mirror covers and nice lower trim here running along the doors, and just a nice reminder, you have Quattro right here. Moving back, you've got really, really gorgeous and real quad exhaust tips, which I am a fan of, and I'm an even bigger fan of when they're running and making a bit of noise. And in case you were curious, yes, it is an SQ7. And I do like generally the details. I like the subtle rear spoiler. I like the metal finished roof rails, and I love that big panoramic piece of glass up top. It's a really, really nice car, and it's a lot of fun to sit in as well. So let's take a look inside. Before we even look inside the car, there's one fun thing to show you. Because this is the Prestige, it has soft closing doors, but it also has 3 rows. And the first thing I want to show you is right now this middle row is folded down. So how do you get access to the 3rd row? Push right here, and this folds up like that, easy enough. But that also exposes these buttons right here. As you can see, this is folded flat. And there is your 3rd row. But, I mean, take a look. That's a 3rd row for kids. It's like a 2-row SUV with a lot of storage. And then, in a pinch, there's a 3rd row if you have kids to take. Okay? Let's be real about this. Because, honestly, that's a good amount of storage space, right? Why sully it with a 3rd row? Huh? You know what I mean? And just so you know, you have those same options to move up and down the 3rd row right there, as well as some adjustments for the tailgate itself. But stepping into the front row, you're welcomed with nice 2-tone gray interior with these carbon fiber highlights, which I really like. You've got seat memory, of course, tailgate option, usual things on the door here. Here's your seat adjustments, that seat back and the 4.5, things like that. This is a lot of lumbar support, which I really appreciate. You've got darn decent lower bolsters and very healthy upper bolsters to keep you in place. And then there's a nice S embossed into the front seats there. Center console has more carbon. And then you are welcome with a lot of big digital screens inside here. I count 3. And a nicely laid out center console, cup holders, things like that. You've got a wireless phone charger right there, and a lot more to show you once I turn it on. All right, this is what the instrument cluster looks like when it's lit up. And here is the upper center console screen and the lower center console screen. And maybe it's a little hard to hear me right now with the climate control on. So let's take care of that. Fun thing about the Prestige, you got heated and ventilated seats, and you also have heated steering wheel, but that is only accessible when you touch this button, get to this menu here. And yes, here's my reflection. Hello. You also have a lot of options to choose here. If I go to vehicle, climate control, you get there as well. But since we're here, I want to show you this. Audi Drive Select. You have off-road, all-road, comfort, auto, dynamic, and individual. And when you go to individual, you can change drive, suspension, steering, and engine sound. And drive is kind of a combination of engine throttle map and transmission shifting calibration. So that gives you the option. If you have sport, you're going to have a faster throttle and you're going to have lower gear ratios and quicker shifts, things like that. Balanced is going to change both of those things. And that is a bit of a shame, I have to say, because I would prefer a slower, more linear throttle, but then a nice, fast, crisp shifting transmission. No complaints though about the suspension, comfortable, balanced, or sport. The steering, comfortable, balanced, or sport. I like a nice heavy steering wheel when I'm in a sporty driving situation. And honestly, were it up to me, present is the one and only engine noise I need, because that is a gorgeous sounding rumbly V8 and I want to hear it as much as possible. Down here, lower climate controls. Everything here is really easy to use. You have haptic, touch sensitive signals, and it all works well. And generally speaking, this is a very quiet, very well executed, really nice interior. I love the leather stitching. The Bang & Olufsen sound system works really well. And then of course, look up. There's your controls to this big, beautiful piece of glass. And you can, of course, do some opening there. And then if you want more intimacy, give that some time and it'll eventually close. It's just a big piece of glass, so it takes time. But yeah, as always, Audi makes very, very nice interiors. Oh, and one little trick before we get going. When you turn the car off and open the door, the Bang & Olufsen speakers hide away. Clever little trick. Let's go for a drive. Hi everybody, and you might be wondering why I'm going a bit on the slow side, and indeed, why am I even slowing down while I just start talking to you? Well, the reason is I'm going to start with showing you how this Audi SQ7 accelerates, because I want you to realize this is a 5,300 pound nearly SUV, and we're about to accelerate. Bit of brake torque. Gosh. Oh. Audi claims that this Audi SQ7 can go 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds. If that's not a great way to start a video, I don't know what is, right? I mean, it's fun to go fast. It's fun to accelerate quickly. It's fun to feel G's pushing against you. And almost as good as the acceleration is the sound you hear from the V8. You've got a nice throaty, rumbling roar coming from that engine. It revs well past 6,000 RPM, like 6,700, 6,800 RPM, and just has a real nice open sound, despite having 2 turbochargers it has to feed as it does it. And the 8-speed automatic transmission does a great job. Quick shifts, crisp. You've got paddle shifters, so I can change gears myself. I just shifted from 8th to 4th. Here's 3rd. Here's 2nd. Yeah, you could do worse than that, right? And then if I just give it a moment, it'll eventually say, oh, I think I'll just start shifting automatically again. And there it goes. So this powertrain is a 10 out of 10. You just can't do wrong with a really nice sounding V8. And this is one of the nicer sounding V8s out there. Of course, it's not just the powertrain here. The Audi SQ7 rides on a nice solid platform and uses an air suspension to give you a lot of adjustability, not just in like suspension firmness and those types of things, but also ride height. And you can see the Audi lift and settle and load level as you get it started, which is cool to see. And you have ride height adjustments that you can handle right in the car. And critically, it's all tuned really well. Yes, you do get some body roll and you do get some pitch and dive. This is a 5,291 pound car after all, but none of it is excessive, none of it is jarring, and it's all easy to control. And in addition to that, the steering is weighted really nicely. The seats are really supportive, both lower and upper bolstering, and I've got a lot of lumbar support, so I have good support all throughout my back. In fact, this is a good point to mention that we have Audi Drive Select modes here. If you put this thing in dynamic, it's a lot of fun. I'm currently on winter tires, so it's gonna squeal a little bit more than you might expect, say if you were in Southern California. But even with winter tires on, the handling is very predictable. It holds the road pretty darn well, and it's a hoot. You know, I've got good feel from the steering. It's a nice heavy wheel, which makes it real easy to control precise movements, so I can place the car really well. And I'm gonna lean it over a little bit here and there, but I can still crack a smile with the way the car behaves. And of course, accelerating out of corners, you get that nice V8 to sing along with you, which does not get old. But there, of course, is another side to this SUV. So I'm going to go ahead and switch Drive Select into Comfort, and things calm down. The steering gets a little lighter, and the engine's just a little bit more in the background. Critically, the suspension kind of cushions things a little bit more, damps out the ride a little bit more. And all of a sudden, I'm in a very nice, luxurious, premium SUV. I've got really nice leather seats. In addition to being very supportive, they're also very comfortable. I've got heated and cooled seats. I've got heated steering wheel. I've got a multi-zone climate control system, so you know, most everyone can pick exactly what temperature they want to be at. It's very quiet in here, real easy to carry a conversation. I'm currently going 55 miles an hour, and I'm not hearing much at all, so really well insulated from road noise, from wind noise, and all of those things. And of course, the Audi MMI works really well, so you have a lot of control over a lot of different settings in terms of infotainment. This particular car has a really nice Bang & Olufsen sound system, and all the typical luxuries you'd expect. But this is also the biggest SUV that Audi sells, and it can tow 7,700 pounds. Now, I should say briefly that the 3-liter equipped Q7 can also tow 7,700 pounds, and it also requires, you know, that you spec the car the correct way to get that. But still, you've got a 500 horsepower, 568 pound fun machine that can also tow a really nice boat, an Airstream camper, or a lot of other things. You have a lot of options here. All right, so let's think about this for a second. You've got a lot of power and a lot of acceleration. You've got better handling than you'd expect, that is also more fun than you'd expect, and you have just a great muscular sounding V8. What you have is the modern day muscle car, but it's also the family muscle car that you can do all the things you need to do, but then the vast majority of things that you want to do as well. I'm duly impressed with this thing. It's a lot of money, but it's also a whole lot of fun. I'm Robin Warner. Thank you for watching. And if you are still watching, it would really mean a lot to me if you subscribe to my channel and like this video. Those kinds of things really do help and make a big difference, and I'd really appreciate it. So if you do like and subscribe, thank you very, very much. That's 2 thank yous and 2 veries. All right, I'm Robin Warner. Goodbye.